Everybody knew Oppenheimer would be a big movie. Nolan was directing it and Cillian Murphy was the star. It had atomic bombs. But no one expected what came out. A 3-hour historical biopic about physics, ethics, and guilt. It turned into a full-blown cultural event. It packed theaters, there were standing ovations, Oscars, memes, TikToks, everything. But the crazy part is, the most explosive part of the movie is not when the bomb goes off. It's the silence after it. The dread, the unraveling of a man's identity. That's why Oppenheimer isn't just a good film. It's a masterpiece. A cold, cerebral, soul-crushing masterpiece. And in this video, we're going to break down exactly how Christopher Nolan pulled it off. Through structure, character, sound, and a level of emotional depth most filmmakers would run from. So Oppenheimer is not a biography, and it's not really about history. It's not about the Manhattan Project. It's about a man, and a man that was losing control of his own creation and himself. The screenplay was adapted from the book American Prometheus, and it could have easily fallen into the greatest hits trap. Birth, rise, conflict, success, and fall. But Nolan doesn't do that. Instead, he builds the film around two timelines, fission and fusion. One is Oppenheimer's subjective perspective, and the other is the cold black and white reality. It's memory versus truth, emotion versus politics, and from the very beginning, we are not watching a man rise, we're watching a man fall. Every other director would have made Trinity the climax. The bomb goes off, everything explodes, fade to black, but Nolan knows better than that. He gives us the test midway through the movie, and then he asks, okay, now what? And that's real genius, because the most haunting part of Oppenheimer isn't the explosion, it's the silence. It's the auditorium scene where he hallucinates the skin peeling off his audience. It's the moment he tells Truman he has blood on his hands. It's the endless hearings, the betrayal, the paranoia, the self-hatred. The movie isn't about building the bomb, it's about realizing you've created something you can never take back, and being forced to live with that. Oppenheimer is Nolan's greatest character study. You can feel the weight of this film on Cillian Murphy's face, his eyes, his sunken body, but it's the writing that makes it sing, because Nolan does something subtle but brilliant. He surrounds Oppenheimer with voices, people calling him a genius, a traitor, a hero, a threat, but he never lets him define himself. That's intentional. The entire movie is a man trying to understand who he is through the eyes of others, and slowly, those reflections start to break him. He's never really in control, not of his work, not of the bomb, not even of his reputation, and by the end, when he imagines the world engulfed in fire, we understand. He didn't just split the atom, he split his own soul. Now the sound design in Oppenheimer is something else entirely. Nolan doesn't use music to underscore emotion, he actually used it to attack us. The ticking, the violins, the deep, anxious drones, it's all designed to put you inside Oppenheimer's head. You don't just watch his anxiety, you get to feel it, like a pressure building in your chest. And then, at key moments, the sound disappears completely, like the moment the bomb goes off, and everything goes quiet. It's just light, just dust, it's devastating, and it proves Nolan understands one of the most powerful tools in storytelling. Contrast. Noise means nothing without silence. Triumph means nothing without fear. So, on a more script-heavy note, it is a masterpiece of structure, and most films follow a straight line. But Oppenheimer is a spiral. It loops through time, it reframes conversation, it weaponizes memory, and most importantly, it withholds judgment. We don't find out the real reason Oppenheimer is being investigated until 2 hours in. We don't see the full betrayal until the end. Nolan trusts his audience will wait, and that they'll connect the dots and they'll sit there in discomfort. It's a screenplay that plays like a puzzle, except every time you think you've solved it, it shows you another side of the piece, and by the end of it, you don't feel satisfied. You feel haunted. That's not a flaw, that's the point. Oppenheimer is a masterpiece of dread. There's a moment at the very end of the film where Einstein says something that chills you to the bone. He tells Oppenheimer, they'll give you a medal, shake your hand, and in 30 years they won't even remember why. It's the perfect summary of everything this film is about. Recognition, isolation, legacy, oblivion. Oppenheimer wanted to be remembered, but he didn't realize what it meant to be haunted. That's why this film matters. It's not a history lesson, it's a mirror. It shows us what happens when you chase greatness without asking what greatness costs. And maybe that's why it hit so hard. Not because it glorified a man, because it made us feel what it's like to be him. To want to save the world, and realize you've doomed it instead. Oppenheimer is a masterpiece not because it makes you feel good, but because it makes you feel something most films are too afraid to touch. Guilt, responsibility, the weight of being human. And if that's not cinema at its highest level, I don't know what is.